Today, my name is Olalade Ibrahim, and this channel is about navigating life through my experience and experiences of others. Once again, I give some credits to Psychax and a video that I saw on YouTube that said I married a monster. If you haven't seen it, I highly suggest you watch it out. And don't mind my hands. My hands are really dry right now. I should probably cream them. But oh well. Talks about odors and sniffers. But that's not the main basis of this video right now. This video is going to be talking about fantasies and relationships and how they correlate. And something that I realize that really correlates in between the two. And the video I Married a Monster is, I believe, a good example of what I'm trying to explain. What I realized through my short years of living is like we men and women, we all have fantasies. And most of us aren't looking for a relationship, we are looking for our fantasies to be fulfilled. There are different types of fantasies. There is the Prince Charming fantasy. Under the Prince Charming fantasy, you get the trophy wife fantasy. The Prince Charming fantasy, I hope you know, but if you don't, I'll explain. The Prince Charming fantasy is the high value man that looks upon one woman and goes, "Oh my God, you are the only one for my life. You are the only. Where have you been in all my life? Oh my God, you're so beautiful." If you look, that stories always like that. There's a movie. Is it a movie or a series? Bridgerton. I'm pretty sure that's the name on Netflix. I haven't watched it, but from the few clips and scenes that I've seen, I suggest it's one of the Prince Charming type of fantasy being sold to women. And I believe if their targeted audience is most likely women, most likely. I haven't watched it, but we'll see. The next fantasy for a female is the wolf, is the aggressive man, is the guy that they want to tame. For example, Beauty and the Beast. The guy is a beast, and she ended up taming him to become a man again. But they never shows you what happened afterwards. In movies like this, they never show you the relationship. They never show you the actual relationship after the fantasy has been fulfilled, which would correlate into, are you a holder or a sniffers? These are things that I've realized after my few years of talking to women and also asking myself some few questions. I started to realize that people really don't want to be in a relationship. I started to realize that women don't really want to get married, but they do want the marriage. They do want the ceremony. They don't want the marriage, but they want the ceremony. They want the ring, just to show their other girls like, "Oh my gosh, look at me, I'm married." They don't really want the marriage in a truer sense. I'm not trying to I'm not trying to attack women or anything like that. I'm just trying to note what I've seen, what I've noticed, rather, not necessarily seen, not what I've noticed about women in general. And there's also the male fantasies. One of the male fantasies is the chase. Is a guy that chases a woman for, like, I don't know, 16 years. He climbs through mountains, slays the dragons, and finally, he was able to get her. Finally, she was able to look in his direction. And oh my gosh, now, normally, when she's probably been Chad thunderstruck, should be in. That's when she probably comes to it. But yeah, I'm not gonna go on down that path. They never really show you the after effect as well. They never really. I don't. At least I don't think so. They just show you that the guy's been chasing her, and at the end of the day, he got her. He got the woman of his dreams. It's part of the plot scenes where everyone goes, "Chase her! Chase her! What are you doing? Go after her! She's yours! She likes you! She wants... Go after her! Go after her! Tell her! Tell her!" Everyone gets so entangled into the storyline. Everyone get really invested in the fantasy that is being portrayed. And people go home thinking, "Oh my gosh, I want that," not knowing that it's not necessarily real. It's a fantasy for a reason, which you can chase it. You can create the fantasy in your relationship, but that there are prices that needs to be paid. Now, the other one is the ride or die. This is this is very very known. I want a ride or die chick. I want, even the sense, the idea of marriage is a ride or die thing. A woman that will be there by my side, and they'll go through the ups and downs, and just not, that's a fantasy. Now, I'm not saying none of this is possible, but the possibility of any of them coming through and actually lasting, leading to a quality relationship between a man and a woman, is small. And the ride or die sort of fantasy is a male type of fantasy, which is also like the a marriage sort of fantasy, which I guess is dying as of lately in the 23rd century that we're in right now, 23rd to 23rd century. And yes, and 1 second. Hello, I'm back again. Yes, what I've realized about life is that people always tend to chase fantasy. The younger we are, the more likely we're likely to chase fantasies. We tend to not know the price that we pay for such fantasies, which is sad. And I'm in the phase of shedding that fantasy and grieving the life that I would never have. Which goes on to my next phase, or the next thing that I realize is social media tends to glorify love. The glorification of love seems to be very, very, very intense. You go on TikTok, you say, if your man isn't doing this, does he actually love you? Like, people will tell you how a love should be. For example, Shara, what's her name? The girl that made this video, that she said she was listening to the other girl. I can't remember. I can't remember. The sprinkle lady. I'm pretty sure you know her. And if not, I don't know. Type in sprinkle on YouTube, and most likely she'll come up. 9 out of 10. The sprinkle lady pushes a fantasy. She doesn't push a genuine good relationship. She pushes a fantasy towards young women or older women to the fact. She pushes the fantasy of a trophy wife, and a trophy wife is someone that does not work. She keeps her own money while she takes the husband's money as well, and she does whatever she wants because she's a trophy wife. This is a fantasy. This is not. I do not believe this is a healthy relationship. I don't. I don't even. I wouldn't suggest any woman to be in this relationship, but you do what you have to do. I'm not here to judge how you want to live your life, because I believe that soft relationship is very transactional, and sort of prostitutional. It's like it's giving off prostitution vibes. It's just giving off. It's giving off. If say this, if you cannot pay for love, you cannot pay for friendship, you cannot pay for intimacy. Well, you can pay for intimacy, but if you have to pay for it, it's not really intimacy. It's not really what we want. It's not really it's not really of quality. Let's say, yes, it's not really of quality. And if you have to pay for your woman to be there, is she really your woman? She's just like, I don't think she's really your woman. She's there for the moment. She's there for the highlights. She's there for the season. I won't necessarily call that woman your woman, but you can also call her your woman if you want. They push the fantasies, and I married a monster. She was one of the people who bought into the trophy wife fantasy, and people do not know the prices they have to pay. Well, she paid the price, but people like her and a master, the girl, the woman she was looking up to, they will never tell you the prices that you have to pay for the fantasies you want to achieve. I married a monster woman, got raped 4 times. 4 times. I don't think she loves herself. I honestly don't think someone who loves themselves so much will be in a relationship that of that caliber. 4 times bef- before the first time you should have been seeing signs. But let's say first one, shame on you, shame on him. Second one, shame on you. Third time, 4 times, 4 times within a span of few months, she said. But she would never tell you those things because she's also trying to push the ideology, the fantasy of a trophy wife. This is something that I realized. And also Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate is the also person that is also trying to push a fantasy of I am a strong man. Look at me. I am a strong man. While he steals from you and makes you basically weaker. They they they're like snakes. Anyway, which will go after all the fantasies has died out. It will enter the relationship phase. The relationship phase is there are two types of relationship phases, according to psychics, which I believe is the case. Once again, that guy is amazing. I love his videos. One of the things that I also realized is you're either a holder or a sniffer. Holders are people who, in my, what I realize, what I notice in my case, is like holders are people who want to keep the fantasy alive. Holder are people who want to keep the image of who they think their partner is alive in their brain. Do not tell me how many people you slept with. Do not tell me who you like. Do not tell me, because that will break me. It's not necessarily them you're breaking the fantasy they have of you in their head, which is really, really, really painful. It's a very painful process. I've been through it. Trust me, I've been through it. It's a very painful process to realize that the things that you've been believing the things that you believe is true is really not true. Now the sniffers are people who want to show them their true selves, who want to show who they truly are, which is really hard and difficult for people like that, I believe, to be in a relationship, which is a phase I believe I'm in right now, and I'm contemplating to be a holder or a sniffer. But honestly, I want to be a sniffer. I believe I'm naturally a sniffer. I realize I tend to shoot myself in the foot in relationships. I tend to tell the truth, and the truth is not the best things to say if you want to give people the fantasies they want. If you get what I mean, people don't really get into a relationship for relationship. Now, I might be different. It might be different for older cohorts, or no, older people, probably like 30s and older. I'm not 30. I'm still in my 20s. But I'm talking about younger people in this case. We are very in the fantasy phase of a relationship. We're, we're in love, we're this, and once that fantasy has been killed, the relationship sort of start dying off. And the fantasy is mostly put together by strings of lies. That's what I realized. You tell the woman, I will be the only one. I will talk to you. You're the only one I'm talking to. I swear. I swear you're the only one I'm talking to. You're trying to sell her a fantasy. You're trying to sell her something that isn't necessarily real, but you know it will get you what you want. You sell her that fantasy. You sell her that dream. That's one of the ways you get a woman. You sell her that dream. And she sells you the dream back. I've never done this before. You're the only one I've been doing this to. You asked how many body counts. Only one. And that one, I wasn't even serious about him. Then she's trying to also sell a fantasy to you of purity. She wants to sell a fantasy to you of who you want her to be, not who she necessarily is. That's why I believe holders are. I believe holders are people who want to keep that fantasy alive, which I don't think is necessarily wrong, but it's not something. It's not someone I want to be. It's not. I just can't imagine being in a relationship with someone I have to sort of lie to, which I also understand. Being a sniffer is going to be really difficult for me. It's going to be really difficult for me to be to even start a relationship, because they will probably die out before they even become anything relationship wise, or to even to the maintenance of the relationship, because there's a lot of chaos in sniffers. You'd see a lot of ugliness from my side, and probably from us, and not probably, you definitely see ugliness from our side too. And this is something that we both would have to overcome. We both would have to understand, and in this process, a lot of fantasies about what I believe a woman should be, or how I believe a woman should dress, or how I believe a woman should behave towards me would have to die. In the process, the more fantasies would have to die in giving way to a relationship with sniffers. If you haven't watched the video, I suggest you go and watch the video of I Married a Monster and Psych Acts. There are two types of relationship. I believe that's the topic, not topic, that's the title. I just wanted to say to watch Psychics relationship. There are two types of relationships. Audience, and there are two types of people in a relationship: audience and sniffers. And should watch I Married a Monster. It's a very interesting video. Married that, married this, so you can fully understand what I'm trying to get to, and the way I saw things. Thank you. Bye bye.